Hey guys, this is Austin. This might seem like a weird comparison, but there are a lot of reasons why you might want to consider picking up an Xbox 360 or PS3 in 2017. It might seem obvious to pick up a PS4 or Xbox One, but not only are they both way more expensive than these guys, but they also lack true backwards compatibility. So the Xbox One comes closest, as it does support some Xbox 360 titles, but the issue is not only is it not the full library, but you still have to actually download the games even if you do have the 360 discs. If you have a slow internet connection, that can take a while. The PS4 is even worse. Now technically you can play some PS3 games using PlayStation Now. Not only do you have to buy that and pay for it every month, but it's also streaming. It is really not the same as playing it on the native consoles. These are the final editions of the consoles. One of the nice things about having such a long life cycle was that there were not only 3 editions of both the PS3 as well as the 360, but there were also years and years of great games, and they're actually both still supported with a lot of their online services. This is the Xbox 360e. It came out in 2013, and while it was a pretty minor improvement over the Slim, mostly it was just a little bit smaller and dropped the USB port, but it is still the full 360 package. The PlayStation 3 Super Slim, on the other hand, is a noticeably cheaper version of the original PS3. Now to be fair, it is quite a bit smaller and was a bit cheaper, but the issue was, instead of having a slot-loaded Blu-ray drive, instead it has this cheap feeling door. It just doesn't feel like quality. Or sound like quality. While by today's standards the hardware isn't amazing, it's easy to forget that these consoles really were the first way that a lot of people experienced HD gaming. If you never tried the PS3 or Xbox 360, you're missing out on a ton of amazing games. The nice thing is, these are incredibly cheap today. So if you want to pick up a used 40GB fat PS3, it's only going to cost you about $60. Sure, it's going to be big and a little bit loud. However, when you consider that the Super Slim with a 12GB drive is about $100, $60 looks like a great deal. The 360 is also pretty reasonable. So you can pick up a 4GB 360e for about $80, or what's a much better idea is to pick up something like this 250GB version, which is only going to cost you about $100 and is way more usable. What's easy to forget is that you can pick up an entire stack of games for these consoles for really cheap. So games like Rise of the Tomb Raider are about $20, you can pick up Red Dead Redemption for $15, Forza Horizon for $10, and real classics like Modern Warfare 1 for $7, and Halo 4 for $5. There is crazy value in getting a last-gen console. The real question here is, what's it like to use an Xbox 360 and PS3 in 2017? First off, we have the Xbox 360. This interface is a lot better than it used to be. So you can go through all the different apps and music and games and whatnot, but more importantly, it is much faster than the stupid Blade interface that it launched with back in 2005. There have actually been a lot of major revisions to the Xbox 360, but where it's at now is actually pretty decent. One nice thing about the 360 is that it still supports most of the major video apps. So there are a couple missing, but for the most part, you have all the basics like Netflix and YouTube. There's Hulu, Amazon, Twitch. Look at the crispy HD video from Mr. Jimmy Champagne, who may or may not be editing this video right now, and is probably putting an obnoxiously large call out to his channel on the screen right now. So here we have Gears of War 3. Now this is a game that, while yes, it looks a little bit dated compared to modern standards, is really impressive considering that this is running on a console that came out in 2005. Now look at the light effects here. This looks really good for an Xbox 360 game. Next, we have the original Forza Horizon. This is another game that I feel like runs way better than it should considering the hardware. Yes, it doesn't match up to Forza Horizon 3 running on the Xbox One or PC, but it's still a lot of fun. I feel like these are some of the best open world racing games ever. To be fair, a lot of these games, including Forza Horizon, is actually going to be backwards compatible on the Xbox One. They look fairly similar, but there's definitely something nice about playing these games on the original hardware. Next, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider. This was one of the last major AAA games that came out for the Xbox 360, and it holds up surprisingly well. Seriously, it doesn't look quite as good as something like Falling Down a Mountain or QuickTime Events, but it actually holds up reasonably well compared to something like a PC or PS4. Next, we have the PS3. One of my favorite parts of this console was always the XMB. Not only is it super fast, you can fly through admittedly a lot of different menus, but one of the cool things is it's all natively 1080p. So a lot of the Xbox 360 stuff is actually 720 that's upscaled. As far as games on the PS3, first we have Gran Turismo 6. It's weird to think that this is the most recent Gran Turismo, however, it looks decent. It might not be quite as nice looking as Forza, but it's hard to argue with the physics and just how nice this game feels to drive. Next, we have The Last of Us. Not only is this one of the best games for the PS3, but it is one of my favorite games ever. It really does go to show what they were able to pull out of the PS3. I know I keep saying this, and that, oh, look, the graphics look better than you would expect, but this is really one of those cases where you can really see that they pulled every little bit of power out of the PS3. A big reason for this was the cell processor. Now, it made the PS3 very powerful, but it also made it really difficult to actually take advantage of that power because it was so different. Which is why some games don't look so great on PS3, but exclusive like this can actually look really impressive. Thanks to the power of the internet, both the PS3 and 360 are surprisingly usable today, and if you missed out on the full decade worth of amazing games for these consoles, it's pretty cheap to pick it up. You should give it a try. So, what do you guys think about these consoles in 2017? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.